Okay, so I finished mating the strings to the hammers. Now, there's two ways to go about it. You can mate strings to hammers or hammers to strings. I think I alluded to that. Obviously, when you mate the strings, it knocks things out of tune considerably. So in a new piano prep, I definitely want to go through that initial, as long as I know the top of the hammer is really flat, then I want to go off the hammer and change the strings then. Later on down the road, it's a piano that's tuned every week, 3 times a week in a concert hall, 4 times, whatever. I probably don't want to be yanking the strings back and forth. That would really mess up stability, or could potentially. So I like to then, at that point, work on the hammer if I want to mate the hammer to the strings.
What about home use? Like if you were working on my piano, I think I remember you filing, but you may have also been pulling strings. What do you prefer?
I didn't pull strings. If I'm doing a full voicing job, you know, I have 3/4 of a day or whatever to work on it, I will go ahead. It depends. If it's an older piano, at that point the strings aren't quite as pliable.
Okay.
So what happens when the piano's newly strung, you kind of get some slack as it comes up over these bends and so forth, and you just kind of you're just kind of defining those bends a little more. But an older piano, that's already happened to it. It's a lot harder to get the movement. You have to really tug on it. So probably I'd go to the hammers.
Okay.
In most cases, but if it's a newer piano, I would look at the strings first.
Good to know.
So you want to play something just so we get a snapshot of?
Yeah.
I mean, I just figure it's always more enjoyable to hear you play than
Oh, I don't know.
me. So
Let's see here. Let's play.
this is also a test for your ear, for those of you who are listening, whether or not you hear the out of tuneness.
Sure. We'll play a little Chopin Nocturne. So one thing that I'm noticing as the player is, even though the tuning's bad and the voicing is way too hot, I'm noticing that the piano is speaking. I don't know if you guys can think back to those original examples. This was just so weak. And now not only is the voicing brought up through our hardening of the hammers, but now the piano feels like it's resonating better because
of that mating.
Yeah.
You're drawing out the maximum tone that piano has to give by making sure you're hitting all the strings of the note. I mean, they took the trouble of designing something that has 3 strings on the note instead of 1. Let's use them, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, seeing a big difference. And if we're playing something big, I'll try this Liszt Paganini Etude one more time. Definitely getting a lot more power. This felt so anorexic and weak up here originally. And now it's actually speaking out and more responsive. Now that's a little harder to perceive because I probably was playing even harder in the original takes to try to make up for the fact that it's soft, but this is a lot more effortless now that it's speaking out. And now this feels like a more balanced instrument. One thing that I always complain about with many pianos is the fact that this is so wonderful through here, and then we get to that break, and this is just so wimpy. But this isn't wimpy anymore. That actually can sing out. And once we voice and tune it, and you'll be amazed at the difference the tuning makes with the voicing. That's something that's been new to me. Like, you know, when I've had you or other technicians come out to my house, is I said, you know, the voicing's all messed up. And they're like, well, let me tune it first. and those 3 strings vibrating perfectly, or I don't know the science behind it, but once they're in tune, the voicing a lot of times takes care of itself.
Yeah, and there's something else I was going to point out about the mating that I talked about with you earlier, which is a lot of times if the hammers are not mated to the strings, maybe a less experienced technician might go in and be tempted to say, I've got a bunch of notes that stick out. They sound really bright, really shrill, or whatever, what have you. And they'll go and needle it when actually what's needed is to mate first, because that'll get rid of some of the harshness of those harmonics without needling and without, because if you needle, go straight to it when that's not the root of the problem, then you're just weakening the piano unnecessarily.
Sure.
And so we don't want to do that in this case. So.
Absolutely.
So I'll go through and tune it. I want to show really quickly though, for me, as we get ready to needle here, I like to know exactly where I'm needling. Where's the hammer hitting the string? Where's it hitting the string when we use the una corda pedal? And so I will mark the hammers with carbon paper. So I left a section here. This is about the funnest thing I probably do all day. No, I guess it's not that fun, but this is how I mark those anyway. Let me just show you that. And also worth showing you how we're going to decide how far the action's going to shift over. So I've got this carbon paper in a folder. The folder just adds a little stiffness. I can just throw that right in the action there. And the ink side up, it leaves the ink on the strings. And then you pull it away and then hit the strings. Now I've marked that in that position. Now let's see, I had my lightsaber light. Let me grab that really quick, Josh, and show you. So, so now you can see those lines in there. I've got, on the other set, you'll notice I've got several lines. It looks like you're seeing a double image there to the left of the section, because I've also marked where it's going to shift. Now I'm going to tighten down the ends so we don't get thrown off from where we are.
So I've always thought that's a sign of a really old beat up piano, and you can see the string markings. These are brand new hammers.
Yeah, those aren't grooves and it's ink, but some people take issue with that. You know, I don't want to mark it, but I don't know a better way to voice, you know. Otherwise I might be throwing needles where it's not necessarily hard on the hammer, and I'm just toning down that piano farther than I need to, and I don't think that's a good thing in general. Okay, Josh, now what I do to set the shift, I've got this battened down. I'll look through the strings here, and I'll see where it's hitting in the regular position, okay?
Okay.
And then I'm going to shift over. Now, I set this where I think we're almost where Josh would like it better. So we're not shifting over very far here. Shift. You see that?
I'm looking through the camera. Okay.
Okay, so we see no lines except a couple, and then we shift, and now we see the 3 lines where the string was hitting.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be hard to see on this camera.
Yeah, maybe on my head camera it'll read, but now this left string, it's just missing.
Okay.
But a lot of times, you know, problems with the piano with the tone is this might be shifting over too far or too little, and you can play with it to get a good tone. Do you want to just see what you think of the una corda position?
Yeah. So we'll take that same example. Well, let's actually take a Volados transcription here. Rachmaninoff, Opus 21, number 7. Let's take that without soft pedal now. It's just grossly bright still, but... Okay, now I'm going to put the soft pedal down. it kills it a little more than I like.
So let's see if I can do something about that really quick.
Yeah.
Essentially with this piano, I've got to kind of set it up so that it can do a few different things.
Yeah, you don't want to tailor it just for me.
Right, right. But I
this is not my piano.
But you know, if I can't make you happy, Josh, I don't know. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm just going to see by having it shift over just not quite as much. I'm getting the sense from you that you don't necessarily care how far you're shifting over. It's not a tactile thing for your foot. You're just looking for a certain level of contrast. Is that correct?
Basically what I like is I still like the hammer to be hitting all three strings, I think. One of my favorite pianos is my own piano, the Hamburg Steinway, because all it does is it just shifts it slightly, so I'm playing on slightly softer felt, but it just gives you a little more control to play soft, and then you got to project a little bit more on your melody. It's not taking all the work away, which I find is actually the case in a lot of New York Steinways, and I don't know if it's because of the way it's regulated or if it's because it shifts way too far and it's only hitting those 2 strings instead of 3. And I don't necessarily even know if I like all 3 of them to still be hit. I just like it to be on fresh felt, and I like to be doing most of the work myself. I think that actually helps develop better students too. If your soft pedal's so soft, the student never wants to use it because they can't play through the melody enough. They can't project the melody enough. So then I'm like, don't use the soft pedal because you sound dead there. So I just like a small shading difference. I don't like it to be night and day. Some people do like that. I do not like that. And I think most concert pianists don't like it to be that extreme. Unless they never use the soft pedal, in which case maybe they do.
Yeah, and I've run into pianists that kind of want one or the other sometimes, but so I've set this now so that it doesn't shift over as far. So it's probably hitting. It still sounds like it's missing that left one, but I think it'll be different. Just try it. Because I think what you don't like actually is that it misses the left string. Just hearing you talk about it in your response to playing, but.
So you're thinking that I want it to shift so little that it still is hitting all 3 strings
and I could align the hammers differently and achieve that really easily, but in this case I've got to prep this piano. It's a sale, and it's a player piano, and they like to specify that it misses.
Oh, okay, good to know. Already better. We'll play that same Bolodo transcription. See, it's a little bit brighter there.
Still has a soft edge to it.
Yeah, so it still is velvety, but it speaks. The thing I hate is that when the una corda pedal completely just kills it. And yes, there's a place for that in Le Gibet by Ravel, where he says, as soft as possible. And I don't know if I should say the image. It's the image of a man's rotting corpse on a gibbet. So
that makes me want to play it correctly. I don't know about you, but
that's a place where I might want it to kill it. But even still, this is not killed anymore. And you can actually still hear. Should stop talking. That melody still rings out. And I'm not putting a lot of effort to ring out. That's what bothers me with una corda pedal adjustments, is a lot of pianos you've got to like smack the melody in order to get it to ring out enough. And then it always sounds like a blanket's thrown over it. Now this sounds very natural. So I'll play without soft pedals so you can hear. A little harder edge on these ones. And there's a little harder edge on the melody. Now with soft pedal, see, I have the softer edge here, but that melody still pretty effortlessly sings out, which I really like. That's a huge adjustment. I actually, wow.
Yeah, so mechanically, if you like what Josh likes, and I've run into a lot of pianists that do, especially if you're playing with orchestra, right? They don't want to just all of a sudden disappear.
Yeah.
then this could be a trick, you know, if you don't want to go through the expense of realigning all the hammers, or maybe it's not practical because maybe those hammers have been wearing in that position for a long time. It would require a lot of voicing to rework them. Maybe a turn of the screw might just help it.
What is the turn of the screw? Have we gone over that yet?
Well, I didn't even show the stop screw. Let me show
okay.
that. No, I'm realizing why did I not even think to do that? I just did it. It probably shows up in my head camera, but let's point it out.
Sure.
While I fumble over the cheek block here. Now, certain pianos will have the stop screw in the cheek block itself. It'll usually be right about here or here.
Okay.
And it's just, you turn it in further, then the action obviously can go over further.
Sure.
Some pianos have the disease where that screw doesn't want to stay put, and it's maybe slightly stripped. If action shifts over too far, the pianist all of a sudden uses their pedal, and it sounds like they're hitting 2 notes. So what's wrong with my piano? Shifting over too far, it's just a simple fix of the screw.
Okay.
On the Steinways, the screw is on the side of the rim there, and I'm going to detach this so we can see it.
It's this little one jutting out, correct?
Nope.
Okay.
That is
it's
the
not
guide
that.
pin for the action to shift on.
Okay.
You know, that's held in place. So it's a little bit further back. There it is right there. Okay.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's
So,
just totally inconspicuous there.
yeah, and I don't have to turn it very much. I turned it maybe an eighth, almost a quarter of a turn to make that change just now.
Wow.
So, and it's just controlling how far it hits, so it's helping, the strings are maybe hitting on the, and you can see on the marks actually where we hadn't marked the shift yet, sure enough there's a mark right on the very left side of these hammers, so it's hitting them. And so and here too, where you were saying, I like the way that melody speaks out.
Yeah.
Because you lose a lot of strength by losing that extra string. Now imagine if we did what the pedal name suggests, una corda.
Yeah, 1 string.
I think you really wouldn't like it. But
well, I don't even think that's possible without hitting other notes, correct?
No grand piano that I'm aware of is designed to function that way. But Steinway does say if we align the hammers a certain way, we can choose. Oh, and that is great for a technician, especially in a concert venue. You know, somebody might want more contrast, or a competition. I've had requests, I need more contrast in the shift pedal, in the una corda. Yeah. And so that's a quick way to do it. So I think that covers that. We know where the screw is. There's also, you should know, there's a piece of leather on the side of the action that corresponds with that usually.
Oh, okay.
So if you're hearing a loud knock, maybe that piece of leather's fallen out on your piano.
Good to know. So huge adjustment, huge result based off of an eighth of a turn of a screw, or a quarter turn.
I'll tell you the biggest challenge I have as a technician of in voicing that una corda position is to take out where it's not too pingy, but that it's the right amount of contrast.
Sure.
And so the best way to do that, if you really want to be picky with that voicing, you best align the hammers so that you can not miss that left string.
And when you say, just remind us really quick, align the hammers.
We did that with the screwdriver. We're just pivoting the hammers left or right.
Oh, right.
Corresponding with the strings of the note that they strike.
Okay.
So we're going to shift them all. We're going to, where the attachment point is, we're going to pivot them a little bit over so that there's more felt on that left side, more choices.
Okay.
How we set that screw.
Sounds great.
All right. So I'm going to tune this, and we'll get it sounding good. We'll start to needle.
Okay.